Okay, you guys, we are about to talk about my favorite story ever. This is probably my favorite passage from the life of Jesus. It's my favorite. And it's Jesus entering Jerusalem. So it's a big moment, and we will discuss it. I'm going to start out with a quote here. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Today was like a day of just eating chips and peanut butter cups, so excuse my gastrointestinal issues. Anyways, love is blind. Friendship closes its eyes, by Anonymous. And how wonderful is this quote? Because along with the salt and vinegar chips and the peanut butter cups, I was watching basically an entire season of Love is Blind. I've never watched the show before in its entirety, but I watched like a full season today, and this is the quote. Like see, this is what I'm saying. God works wonders. It's so minute, but the quote after me watching the show all day long is, "Love is blind, friendship closes its eyes." And I've just been, going down my list that I wrote years ago of quotes, and that's just perfect. And this is my favorite topic, too. So, anyways, we'll see how we can tie this into the reading. Love is blind, friendship closes its eyes. It has more of a personal meaning to me, but it's a great quote by Anonymous. Jesus travels to Jerusalem, so we're going to take a look at Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 through 27. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and at once you will find a donkey tied there, with her colt by her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, say that the Lord needs them, and he will send them right away." This took place to fulfill what was spoken to the prophet. "Say to daughter Zion, see, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had instructed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and placed their cloaks on them for Jesus to sit on, while others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and those that followed shouted, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred and asked, "Who is this?" The crowd answered, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." Jesus entered in the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. "It is written," he said to them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did, and the children shouting in the temple courts, "Hosanna to the Son of David," they were indignant. "Do you hear what these children are saying?" they asked him. "Yes," replied Jesus. "Have you never read? From the lips of children and infants, you, Lord, have called forth your praise." And he left them and went out of the city of Bethany, where he spent the night. Early in the morning, as Jesus went on his way back to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it and found nothing on it except leaves. He said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Immediately the tree withered. The disciples saw this, and they were amazed. "How did the fig tree wither so quickly?" they asked. Jesus replied, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but you can also say to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and it will be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Jesus entered the temple courts, and while he was teaching, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him. "By what authority are you doing these things?" they asked. "And who gave you this authority?" Jesus replied, I will also ask you one question. If you answer me, I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, where did it come from? Was it from heaven or of human origin? They discussed it among themselves and said, If we say from heaven, he will say, Then why didn't you believe him? But if we say of human origin, we are afraid of the people, for they hold that John was a prophet. So they answered Jesus, We don't know. Then he said, Neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things. Moments in time. There's so many little points here, and now you see the quote, love is blind, and tied in at that moment I smiled, where Jesus was healing the blind and the lame in the temple. This is one of the many instances where he healed the blind. So that's awesome. That fit in there perfectly, because I wasn't sure. But of course, love is blind, friendship closes its eyes. Very lovey-dovey. We have Jesus' disciples making his way for him to enter the town of Jerusalem. And this was just a bright moment, because it's like Jesus wanted to put on a show. He wanted to represent, he wanted to fulfill the scripture. And just the fact that Jesus is aware and knows the scripture, he did plan, he planned his entrance. He's like, all right, I want to line it up with the scripture. But the fact that he knew, there was a donkey and everything like that, just shows that it was divine, it was a divine moment. And it just reminds me, it reminds me a lot of us sometimes, because we go through moments where we feel on top of the world, because we most likely are. We're on top of the world, and we brace ourselves for all of these things coming our way, and we put ourselves on a pedestal for protection. It's really to protect us. So Jesus was really arming himself, because he knows what's coming. He knows people are after him. He knows the people don't understand. And it's really the people that are controlling the nation, which are, the elders and the teachers of the law and all of these people, right? He knows the people in power are after him. So he puts himself on this pedestal, on this donkey, and he really is just arming himself with good energy and good vibrations. And this is something I'm sure a lot of us do when we're approaching something, even if we're not sure what it is. We boost ourselves up and we bolster ourselves. I mean, this is something that I go through. And then sometimes it all can come crashing down. When it's too much, we take the armor off and it all comes crashing down. So he's on his high horse, literally. He's on his high horse. People are praising him. He's feeling good. He's flipping tables. He's having a moment. He's having a moment of just manic energy. Like, truly. And this is, anyway, I'm not going to get into this, but he's flipping the tables. He's being like, I am it. Like, please, like, give me my respect. This is my house. Like, do not do this. He puts on a great show. He heals people. Children are shouting and being, joyful, and the leaders, the elders are all just like, what do you, what's going on? What are you doing, And so he left. He's like, all right, well, I did enough work and damage all the same here, so I'm gonna leave. And it's a little upsetting, because after he represents himself in such a high way, and after he, tells everybody off, he leaves pretty much alone. He needs time to be apart and be alone, like oftentimes we do. We bolster ourselves up, we put on our armor of protection, we go into battle, and then we need to retreat, and we need to be alone. And he didn't eat. It's not like he went and left Bethany, or he went to Bethany to, like, go party or whatever like that. He was, just kind of in solitary by himself. Nobody was looking after him. Nobody fed him. Nobody, he had all these praises, but, nobody went and checked on him, which is just all too common of his story. But yeah, he came back. He was hungry. He saw a fig tree. He withered the fig tree. He yelled at the fig tree, and then he withered it. So it's just he's just, having like a moment. He has all this stress that is coming. He knows it's coming. he's anxious and worried, and that's what he does to protect himself. He's bolster himself. But yes, he knows it's coming, so he's just feeling a lot of whatever, anxiety, something we all experience as well. So that's how Jesus is with us, because he's very, very human in this story. Even though he's performing all these miracles, he's very human. He unleashes his anger, he yells at a tree, he does all these things, and yes, and now he's talking to the chiefs. He's like, listen, I'm not going to answer your question. You either know, or you don't believe, or you believe. Like, I'm not here to prove anything to you, because you're obviously not going to agree with me whether I say I am God or I am not God. You're not going to agree with me either way, and that's not your fight at the end of the day. It's not something that he's willing to partake in. He's like, John came first. Like, what do you think about John? Like, do you think he has divine origin? Of course he does, right? But people aren't going to see this man in like wild clothes and out in the wilderness, and he was just a wild guy. They're not going to see him as divine. He's supposed to be godly and kingly, right? They're not going to see him as divine. So why would they see Jesus as divine? Like, if they can't accept him, they can't accept Jesus. It was this whole thing. They were kind of like a package deal. They were really, really good friends. But yeah, basically brothers. And I'm learning all of this now, like reading the Bible. I'm learning like that John was only a few years older than Jesus. He was born or not even a few years, I think it was a few months, right? A few months older than Jesus. They were born almost at the same time, kind of like twins. But John went one way, Jesus went the other way, and then they came together. Of course, John gets arrested and all of these things, and it just kind of, he knew, the times were coming where it was just, not going to be smooth sailing. All from the baptisms, right? All from all the baptisms. But it's no laughing matter. But again, it's a way of defending and just bracing yourselves for the sorrow that's coming. So continuing on in our studies, we're going to talk about the Last Supper, which we covered pretty extensively already, but I'm going to talk about the Last Supper. We're going to talk about Jesus confronting his disciples, then the downward spiral of Jesus being arrested, being put on trial, crucified, buried, rising from the dead, and then ascending to heaven. So yes, all good things coming up. Well, not really, but the fact that we're getting through these studies and we're just learning the full glory of everything is very fulfilling, I would think. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I could at this time of night stay on here and talk all night. I have no issue with that, although I didn't finish any transcriptions, so we're gonna have to finish those first. So I might as well go and hang out with my cats. I'm in the room. They're not allowed in the room, so sometimes I'll sleep on the couch just to be near them. So cute, so cute. But if they came in the room, they will destroy the room. They will be jumping and running around, maybe sleeping on the bed. Just not gonna happen at this point in time. So I'm sleeping on the couch as a compromise. I'm sleeping on the couch until the husband gets back. So yes, I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, but if it's not tomorrow, you'll see me during the week, and we'll learn more about this awesome narrative. I will talk to you later. Bye bye.